I've had bottles thrown at me and I've been spit on just because I'm homeless, said George Saletti from Washington, D.C. Although we may ignore homeless people, give them our leftovers or our spare change, other civilians take their prejudice too far and they attack these men and women. Then these people are forced to live with the injuries that are inflicted upon them, and this can lead to infection and death. Most homeless individuals are on the street because they either have a mental illness or a physical condition that doesn't allow them to get a job as easily as the rest of us would. It is important that individuals become advocates for these people, and that we, by understanding the injustices that are acted towards these people, and create solutions for them. One way that these homeless people are assaulted is through physical abuse. According to the National Coalition for Homeless People, in 2012, there were 312 deaths and 872 non-lethal attacks, which include beating these people with golf clubs, committing rape, and setting these victims on fire while they were asleep. But these are only the attacks that have been reported, because a lot of these homeless people do not report these acts because they're afraid of talking to the police about the things that have been done to them, or they just don't think that something will happen because they feel as if they're not wanted or they are not a part of society. Also, by the National Coalition in 2012, the average victim was 48 years old and the youngest victim was 9 years old. And the majority of these crimes that were committed by these perpetrators are these people were hit with bats, wooden boards, metal poles, and bicycles. And can you imagine people just walking up to a 9-year-old and beating them just because they're forced to live, to be homeless, no matter what their situation is. And these people are suffering silently because they're afraid to talk to officials because they feel as though they can't even be heard. And so their injuries go untreated, their infections become worse and worse, and this causes premature death. Also, in 2005, there was 5 teenagers who were charged with killing a 53-year-old homeless man. And these teenagers said that they did it for fun. I mean, how cruel and brutal is that? And they left the scene and then they would come back and they would continue to beat him with their fists, tree branches, and large logs. And it's alarming to hear how terrible these vicious crimes are towards these people, but it's also documented by the perpetrators. So in addition to physical abuse, homeless people are exploited by the media. There are a series of four films called The Bum Fights, and these were sold 7 million copies, according to the National Coalition for Homeless People. And this portrays that that abuse towards homeless people is a form of entertainment, and that it will in turn make them money. So they're beating up these people who are not able to fight back, or they feel as though they can't, and they're using it as a form of entertainment. Also on YouTube, these young individuals will make videos of beating up these homeless people, and they receive 15.5 million views in 2012, according to the National Coalition. And you don't even have to be 18 to watch these videos, so people that are younger, young children are watching these videos thinking that it's okay to harm these individuals, and that in turn making videos and things like that will make them money and their video will go viral. And it just fills them with toxic images and behaviors. So also there's negativity in the media with articles. There's an article that just came out in November that said U.S. cities catalyst for discrimination. And it's important to inform these people which cities are restricting food towards homeless people, but it's also a catalyst for discrimination. And this article highlights that that people, even officials, want homeless people out of their city, but isn't it also the homeless people's city too? So after focusing on how the media continuously manipulates a perspective about homeless people, the next question is, how do we approach this problem and prevent these hate crimes and discrimination? In the United States, organizations work diligently to provide services to promote the well-being for homeless individuals, with the government trailing slowly behind to enforce punishment for carrying out these crimes. The National Coalition for Homeless People is one of the organizations that has produced 12 reports documenting these acts towards these homeless people. And the newest report, entitled Hate Crimes Against the Homeless People, Violence Hidden in Plain View, it shows that that these people are actually the hate crimes that are being towards these people, and it's advocating for them. And also it's allowing volunteers and shelters to help these people. Also, the National Coalition says, thanks to the hard work of both advocates and lawmakers, Alaska, California, Cleveland, Ohio, Florida, Los Angeles, California, Maryland, Maine, and so on, they have created laws to consider homelessness as a factor that may motivate people to not attack homeless people. In addition, there are 75% of homeless people say that they have experienced discrimination by law enforcement. So this just shows that even though there are advocates out there, there are people that are definitely against these people and discriminating them. Homelessness is a terrible issue itself, but we also need to focus on the injustice that these people are experiencing. And it's not enough just to walk up to these individuals and give them a short-term situation. We need to help them of their well-being and treat them as individuals. It's not something that can be solved overnight, but by becoming advocates and educating ourselves about their situations and how we can not discriminate towards them, we are one step closer to a resolution. Thank you.